Hello and welcome to the Tifo Football Podcast. I'm Joe Devine, and today I'm delighted to be joined by JJ Bull.
Hello.
Colin Millar.
Hello.
That's what I like to call you now. I was doing it in a Northern Irish accent before, but I'll be respectful and say it like Colin Millar.
Quite culturally sensitive of you.
Thank
very
you.
much, Joe.
Thank you so much. Now, that is a fly forward to the fact that there was a little Italian accent that I did in the episode, which was cut for it. You won't get to hear that or the Northern Irish one, but they're pretty fun. They're pretty... Pretty fun accents. Now, anyway, also Reuben Pinder.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Now, what did we talk about? Oh, Steve Hankey's also here.
Hello.
There he is. Now, what did we talk about on today's episode? Well, the Hammers, right, Steve, are ironing out a path to potential Premier League survival. So, how have they improved their previously poor form? We discussed that. I almost did another accent there, didn't I? Their poor form. We discussed that a little bit. Right at the very beginning of the podcast. Here's another thing. How many different formations are there actually? Colin says 8. Reuben says there's only 1. Much like the single great ocean that bestrides our blue planet, writes Steve. Steve, a big proponent of the conspiracy theory that there's only one ocean because all seas interconnect. That's not true. All oceans interconnect.
Do they?
I think all oceans do.
All oceans do, yeah.
Not all seas.
Yeah.
Because, of course, there are some seas that are landlocked.
Are there?
Yeah.
That's a lake.
No. What about the Dead Sea?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
What about the Black Sea?
Don't you find those bits in oceans
No,
where...
the Black Sea. I think it's...
Don't listen to that one. What's that?
don't you get those bits in oceans where the two different oceans meet and then the water kind of decides
Yeah,
to
you
just
do.
stay where it is?
You also get these fantastic bits where salt and freshwater meet. I remember watching, maybe it might have been a Blue Planet, or it could have been a David Attenborough type show. People were swimming in underwater caves, which is my worst nightmare, I think, where the cave is full of water and they're snorkeling under there. And there's a bit that they show you where on the bottom layer is the heavier salted water, and then on the top layer is the fresh water in this cavern in the cave. And it looks from the bottom layer as though you're swimming up to air, but when you get there, it's just a different type of water. I mean,
that's bad.
That's so horrible. Good Lord.
And of course, there's bits of the sea where the aliens are in it as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
thought we were going to get through a whole
so
episode.
much. Yeah. A small pitches or big pitches better. We discussed that, don't we? It's very much down to taste, I believe we discover. Some like 'em big, some like 'em small, writes Steve. Now, Nottingham Forest are on to their 4th manager of the season. That's a record. We speak about the environment that those managers had to work in. What must it be like to be publicly undermined by someone that you work with constantly? I don't know, Steve.
No idea.
I can't imagine
No.
any of us would know that. No one says anything. Now, then we play the Rondo. It was an FA Cup related Rondo. You did quite well this week, JJ.
Yeah.
You got further than round 1.
I did. And stay tuned. Tuned?
Tune.
You don't tune into a podcast.
Well, certainly you wouldn't want to tune anything.
we need to adapt our words to be relevant to now.
Stay on button.
It's like when you use a record scratch to do like a something bad happened.
Right.
You know? Yeah, it's not relevant now. You need to have something else. It's like a
Static.
Glitch.
it just instantly changed. I
That's
guess.
like how Gen Z don't do that to signal a phone. For audio listeners, I'm holding my thumb and my pinky finger.
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
They just hold it up with
they
the...
just do like
No, sorry.
thing.
They just do this. They just hold it flat.
Yeah,
out
and
'cause
speak
it's
into
a
it.
device where I love listening to your conversation.
Yeah.
That's good. Like so many times, I just want to go. What's that? I can't quite hear.
Yeah.
What they're saying?
It is annoying, isn't
Who was
it?
that? Oh,
I know.
Can I watch that too?
That people from different cultures, I have learned, don't have such a problem with this as other places do. So I've learned that when I go to different countries, sometimes people do have sort of noise coming out of their phones on the buses or the trains, but that's not cool here. I don't like that here, and I never say anything. But it completely ruins my journey. I sit there thinking I should say something. I
think the best thing to do, which I have been tempted to do but have not yet done, is buy a cheap pair of wired headphones and offer them to people who do it, because it's like a really passag but ultimately technically polite thing to do.
Right.
But a lot of the time, you're not sure if people are actually speaking to you or just speaking because of these little tiny headphones in that you can't see. I think that's why the wire is important. I think it's symbolic.
Oh.
There's a lad come out of jail and he says one of the things that was hardest to understand, I don't know who this guy is or whether I should be talking about him, maybe he was a horrendous criminal, but he says that one of the weirdest things he came out of prison is that everyone's walking around talking to themselves, you know, but they're not. They're talking to someone else on the phone.
Some people are walking around talking to themselves. some people.
Someone has to talk to the voices.
That's true.
Or they get louder.
Otherwise, they keep asking questions, don't they? Igor Tudor, he'll be asking some questions of the Spurs squad. He's the new interim coach at Spurs, or at Tottenham, as I like to call them. We start this discussion, I don't know how I've read season there, by mulling over appropriate clothing attire for podcasts and the opera. Because those things are related. Now, that's where the accent thing happened as well. I'm going on a holiday.
And then I decided what Spurs would do based on having seen absolutely none of Igor Tudor's.
Oh, I like that
football.
bit.
That's what good football analyst people do, isn't it?
They just, they project confidence. They just say things.
Yeah.
I think so. Much as you did in Points Are Bad. Yeah?
Oh, that, I mean...
Despite the fact that we all know that your 0-0 approach wasn't working, you just confidently stated that it was.
But it was working.
I don't think it was.
And then you went and ruined it by doing the thing where you got Barker to give me like a 9-point thing.
You deserved a Barkering. You deserved
Someone can
it.
go back if you have the time. I'm not going to...
Steve's going back. Steve's going to go back.
We've time for that.
We've got... No, Steve, we've settled already. You'll be going back, Steve. And that was the whole show, I think. We're back on Thursday, aren't we? We're joined by John, Kaya, and Thomas Hill. Lopez Menchero will be joining us on Thursday.
And a small alien.
Also, we'll have a third episode out this week, audio only. So please subscribe to us on whatever your podcasting platform of choice is. And listen to that one. It's going to be a real bangor. Not like the Welsh town.
Which is also or the Northern Irish town,
I don't respect that one. I do. Isn't it funny? It's nice how there's often two ports that adjoin, opposite sides of the city, that they both call the same name,
Any other examples?
There's a Lagos in Portugal.
Is there?
Yes. There's a Lagos in Portugal.
Near Albufeira, I think.
Well, there's a lot of places in America and Canada that are named after here.
That's true. There's
there's an Aberdeen. That's where Kurt Cobain was from, isn't it?
There's Oldham.
But that's not ports facing each other, is it? That's like...
No, sure.
I wasn't listening to what you said.
Are we not just describing European colonialism here, really?
Where else to begin, of course, than we're at the bottom end of the table? Oh dear! In the relegation scrap and snap, we will come to talk about Forest, who fired Sean Dyche as their head coach since the last time we did a podcast. But we're going to start with West Ham, who over the weekend actually progressed in the FA Cup, didn't they? With an extra time victory for the second round in a row, following up their 2-1 extra time win in the third round against QPR, with a late victory away to Burton Albion, the Giants' Burton Albion, at the weekend. Crescencio Somerville's winner was his 6th goal in 7 games, as his uptick in form has aligned with West Ham making progress under Nuno in the league as well. The Hammers, the Irons, are only 3 points from safety behind Nottingham Forest, who I think the last out in the Premier League drew... What was it? 1-1 with Wolves? Was that their most recent?
0-0.
0-0 with Wolves.
Yeah.
So that there's only 3 points in it now. Here's a fun question we got on the Tifo Discord a few days back from Towels. Towels asked us this: West Ham went over a month without a win, but have since, at the time of writing, won 3 of their last 4. I think it's 5 out of 7 since the question was first asked. So, what has changed? Now, Colin, you joined us last week. You actually went to as discussed, the West Ham London Stadium to watch them draw 1-1 with Manchester United. One could say a little unfortunate to not take all 3 points there. And then we ended up not talking about it at all because Thomas Frank got sacked the same day. Let's talk about it now. What is your experience of this rejuvenated or otherwise West Ham?
Well, West Ham are a club who I think it is fair to say, and I think a lot of their supporters would agree, have lost their way as a club. They don't really have a direction of what they are, what they want to be. Now, that's not just as a club. I think that's also on the pitch this season. So I looked this up, that they have used 7 different formations this season for starting matches. Wow. Now, I love a tactical tweak as much as the next man, but I think that's maybe a little too many. I think that's kind of a loss of any sort of continuity of what this team should be, of how they want to be coached. Now, obviously, they've had multiple coaches, not just this season, but going back several years too. Nuno came in earlier in the season, and again, there was a lot of sort of decent performances, but they were undermined by kind of in moments losses of that identity on the pitch, of losing a lot of points while ahead. Now, we talked about that for Manchester United as well last week. They've now lost 20 points from winning positions in the Premier League this season. I think that's more than any other club.
Yeah.
So this is a really, really big issue. But what happened at West Ham in the middle of January is they appointed a guy called Paco Gemes as their first team coach. Now, Paco Gemes is a really interesting character. The reason he's so interesting is that about 10, 12 years ago, he really made his name quite big in La Liga as this sort of really dogmatic figure in terms of how he wanted to play football. He was the head coach of Rayo Vallecano, who were a team, and they still are a club essentially, without a budget. And they had to sort of think differently of how can we survive in this league and how can we sort of thrive as well. And what he did was he had this approach where it was very attack-minded, very much let's have a really high defensive line, let's have possession high up the pitch. You know, they were the first team in 2013. They out-possessioned Barcelona in a match. No, they lost the game 4-0.
Yeah.
But this is the first time in over 300 matches that Barcelona had less than 50% of the ball, and it was against a team who essentially were assembled, free agents, loan players, etc., and so on. So that shows you what his mindset is. Yeah. Now, that was also his downfall a lot of the time because, you know, they still lost that match 4-0. They were a team who could lose that games quite heavily. I think they lost 10-2 to Real Madrid whenever Rafael Benitez was the manager as well a couple of years later. But he has now come in as a first team coach under Nuno. Now, Nuno is a guy who Premier League fans are obviously very familiar with, loves to play a sort of low block style of football, maybe not a risky approach at all. In fact, maybe the antithesis of what Paco Gemes is. So I kind of find that appointment really, really interesting, not just in terms of the contrast, but in terms of the dynamic of how this guy who's always been a first team manager essentially, or the head coach, is going to have a role which is maybe not subservient, but certainly he's just a voice in a wider structure. So what has this changed at West Ham? Well, West Ham adapted an 8th formation of the season, which they used for the 2-1 win at Tottenham, a 3-1 win over Sunderland, the game at Chelsea where they were 2-0 up and bossing it but lost. They beat Burnley and then they reverted back to this other formation against Manchester United for a 1-1 draw. Right, so what did they do? Well, they played what is essentially a 4-4-1-1 formation. Right. Now, this came after they signed Tati Castellanos and Pablo, 2 forwards in the January window, which sort of helps them do this, of course. But this is a very attack-minded formation because they've got 2 out-and-out forward players on the pitch. And that's on top of Jared Bowen, who's pretty much been their sort of key player in the last 3 or 4 years down the right. Crescencio Somerville, who's really hit top form playing off the left.
Certainly since January, maybe related to the new coach arriving.
Exactly. And you've got 4 out-and-out attack-minded players. You've also got Matheus Fernandes in the middle of the pitch, Thomas Souček, who, again, he scored the goal against Manchester United. You've got 6 goal threats on the pitch. Now, for West Ham, who we always think, they're kind of a bit of a dull team under Nuno, you know, maybe a bit defensive, a bit negative. That is a lot of players to have those threats from. So the change in approach is really, really interesting. Now, for the Manchester United game is slightly different because Pablo was injured for that game, so they had to slightly revert and tackle the midfield out. And for this game, I was at the London Stadium, but I was quite high up.
West Ham London Stadium.
The West Ham London Stadium,
Thank you.
Not the Olympic London Stadium, not to be confused.
Just to be clear,
and you're very high up, so it was one of those things where you could actually see the game being played out very well.
Like your own tactical camp.
Yeah, you can sort of see the players moving about and you pass it into that space, you know. It's a great way, I think, of sort of looking at a game from a tactical point of view. And they were so compact in this match, but not compact sort of on the edge of their own penalty area. They were much higher up the pitch. They were aggressive with the ball. They were winning tackles. They were very positive in their approach. And also what Manchester United are, they essentially combated that by playing a very sort of compact team. They congested the middle area of the pitch. They didn't allow those through balls through the middle, which we all know Bruno Fernandes is very good at, and which Manchester United have really enjoyed in their sort of run of victories. West Ham were more than deserving of a point in this game. But again, they did lose it. Not lose it, but they did draw the match later on. They lost 2 points, which really would have closed it up to the teams above them.
Yes.
So that is my reading of what has gone on, that there has been a change in the coaching staff. There's been a change in formation. Obviously, they've brought a few new players in. But there's other elements going on too, because obviously they've got Freddie Potts, now who's playing quite regularly in midfield. They've got Scarles at left back, players who came through their academy, who were part of that FA Youth Cup winning team a couple of years ago. And I think one of the things about West Ham, and when we talk about they've lost their way, and what does that really mean? Well, they had this great group of youth players. Now, not every one of them is going to go into the first team. We all know that. That's not how football works. But David Moyes, whenever he was getting pretty decent results with West Ham, their fan base were disaffected. I think that's one of the reasons, because none of these players were given any opportunity in the first team. There wasn't really a pathway from the youth academy into that first team structure. So I think now that West Ham fans can probably look at the team they have now, and there's more of an identity of what they want to be. I think as a football fan, you always want to have kind of younger kids coming through, not just in terms of how the optics of that for you as a club, but for the players themselves, and they kind of invigorate a dressing room as well. Like they sort of have that kind of that sort of youthful, not naivety, but that kind of energy that I think
optimism,
exactly. But
post Noble and Rice, they've really missed that, haven't they?
Exactly. And I think that has really energized things. And that the West Ham London Stadium is a stadium that isn't exactly conducive to a brilliant atmosphere. And I've been there a couple of times, and it always just feels like, why are we doing this? Why did we leave our sort of long-term home for this match day experience?
Yeah.
And whilst that still exists, I think there's now a connection that exists between the team and the fans that wasn't there before. Now, obviously, there's a lot of issues with the board, which is a separate issue.
Sure.
But in terms of the actual what's on the pitch and the fans in the stands, there's a real bond. And I think part of that is the fact that they are now in a relegation battle, rather than last year when they were never going to go down. So it didn't really matter how bad they were on the pitch.
A bit of jeopardy helps, doesn't it?
Yeah,
almost.
but it
helps people care, I think.
And it gives that unity, right? It gives you that objective. It's like, you're all in this together now, and there's no other way than sort of getting behind the team. Whereas last year it was kind of easy in a way to sort of be like, well, this is just rubbish. We're not going anywhere. We're not even going to get relegated. There's no kind of like edge to these matches. There's no need for us to really get up for it. But now they are up for it. And I think with 3 months left of the season, they are arguably the informed team in the bottom half, never mind just that relegation battle. So I would be very surprised if they didn't continue some form of upward trajectory, because I just look at that team, and if those players, Somerville, Bowen, can avoid injury, I think West Ham are going to be okay.
You said they've played 8 different formations. I don't think there are 8 different formations.
Let's count them. There's 4-4-2.
Yeah.
There's 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
There's 4-3-3.
And then there's the like 2 variations.
There's 4-4-1-1.
Yeah, no, that's the same.
No, you can have that. That counts.
4-4-1-1. 4-4-1-1 is the same formation as 4-2-3-1.
Then there's
basically.
Then there's 3-4-3.
And there's 3-5-2. And that's basically it.
5-3-1.
5-3-1. No, that's not enough players, is it?
Yes.
5-3-2.
5-3. Well, in this team's got a red card. Do you
know what I mean? Though, like, I see a lot of
Diamond.
I see a lot of reporting saying that teams have switched. Like on, we'll come to this later, but like on Igor Tudor's formations at Juve or whatever, it was, well, he played 3-4-2-1 in most games and 3-4-3 in 2 other games, same formation.
Yeah,
it's
but the thing
formation.
is, what you're failing to understand, and I understand why, because you've got a very small stadium down there at Selhurst, is that at the London West Ham Stadium, there's so much space you can play in all these different formations. That's right, JJ. From a tactical perspective,
it was because the pitch is much longer than other pitches.
You'll
notice.
Is it actually? Because it looks it.
Yes, just say yes.
It is,
yes.
But
you can see it on the TV.
I think it's to do with the TV angle. It looks narrow and long.
It's longer away from you where you're stood.
I've been there. It's a horrible place to watch.
The further away you are from it, the longer it gets. It's one of those science experiments that you can do. In fact, it's one of the main things you can do at the Science Museum now. Is
don't they make you wear those like
VR goggles at the football?
The ones that you look at the sun with. When you're watching an eclipse, those like yellow and red ones.
That's right. And then for extra time games, they give you 3D glasses. So it makes it look more real.
So you can see the players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wasn't this always a thing with Anfield? That the Anfield pitch was always like deceptively small, because you look at the stadium and think, it's a huge stadium.
But the actual small.
It's actually a tiny pitch in comparison to the others.
That's cool. What's your favour? Do you prefer a small pitch where the players are all a little bit more congested, or do you prefer large space to roam, like the savannah?
I prefer a smaller pitch because my team play defensive, compact, low blocking counter football, and when the pitch is bigger and we can be stretched. Like when you watch, especially when you watch like playoff finals of like EFL teams playing at Wembley, it does look like much harder work.
Well, I mean, there's a very real argument to say that it makes a huge difference. People listening might not know this actually, but there are guidelines within which football pitches must meet, right? There's no set size. There's just a range of set sizes, and you can make an argument that Manchester United at Old Trafford, for example, who have a big pitch and have a little bit of that albeit it's that weird little hill off the side.
Slope is so dangerous.
The very dangerous slope. that's one of the reasons why they've been encouraged to play wingers and breakaway football and fight fast, whatever, spread the pitch wide. Whereas Chelsea, for example, like Stamford Bridge is pretty small and crammed into that part of London. The pitch is much smaller. You can make the argument that that's helped them develop their sort of slightly more pass and move style.
Highbury was similar, wasn't it?
Sure.
It was like,
whereas the Emirates
really
is the Emirates pitch size bigger than it was at Highbury?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've had to learn, haven't they? They've had to learn how to cover more yards.
Indeed.
Those boys.
Apparently Leyton Orient, because I used to go to, my brother's a Leyton Orient fan, so we go quite regularly, and apparently that is the squarest pitch in the Football League in terms of this, because as you say, the measurements can be width and height.
It's a good pub quiz question, that.
Yeah.
What's the squarest pitch? Yeah. What's the squarest team? Leyton Orient.
Actually quite trendy in Leyton now, so you know. Yeah.
I know. That's the stadium where you can stand in those little flats and see out the window, isn't it?
On West Ham, we covered the relegation battling teams on the Athletics Week in Football a few weeks ago. And John was making the point that Nuno had improved their defensive structures, but what was letting them down was like individual mistakes, like somebody not jumping or jumping too early and getting played around, or just like kind of sloppy errors. So I guess maybe this Paco Gemes guys fixed all of those up, and that's why they're suddenly playing with more
one would hope
confidence and efficiency.
I mean, you make let's just go through their teams here, their results here, because they, as we said, they held Man United to very few chances. The goal that Benjamin Sesko scored, I don't think we talked about it last week.
It's a lovely finish,
It's just, I mean, I don't think he'd ever be able to do that again, personally. I mean, it's a lovely finish, and it describes that he's a good player, but that's not reapatable.
I had to watch that multiple times before I realised what he had actually done.
When you saw it in the stadium, what did you think had happened?
You just see the ball just sort of flying into the top corner. What?
Because he's not followed through with his shot, has he? It's almost like he's put his foot down for the ball to bounce off.
Yeah.
So it almost looked like an own goal in that way. Do you know what I mean?
It's so bizarre. Anyway, I thought they were obviously quite unfortunate there. You could probably say less unfortunate against Chelsea, just because if you go 2-0 up and then you lose 3-2, I think it's probably your fault, as well as it being a little bit unfortunate. But prior to that, they beat Sunderland, of course. They beat Spurs away from home. They beat QPR, huge game in the FA Cup. I think the biggest issue most recently was that their loss to Nottingham Forest, their loss to Wolves. They look back at those two games now, given their current form, and you think, good Lord.
Both Nuno derbies as well.
Right. If they'd won one of those games, they'd be on joint points with Forest right now. It might be having a slightly different conversation.
Well, the Forest comparison is very relevant, because I think Nuno's basically doing what he did at Forest. You can see it in all the numbers. I got some numbers sent through this morning for me from Opta. Thank you very much, Adam at Opta. So Forest, when they were very good, they played 20% of the time they played a high block, 60% of the time they played a mid block. So
this is Forest under Nuno.
Yes.
And 60% of the time it worked every time.
And 20% of the time is the lowest for high blocks used in the league that season. Right. And mid block was the most of all teams that season. And so that was the way. They're not pressing high, but they did win a lot of high turnovers and got a lot of shots and goals from it. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the actual numbers per 90, the difference between West Ham before Nuno came in and after, it's only 5 games that Potter was there. So it's not perfect. But what you see is a very difference in fast breaks. Very difference from 0.6 to 1.43 per 90.
Right.
So basically, you see what he's doing, right? So he's making them harder to play against by being more compact and better defensively. Then he's teaching them how to win turnovers and turn them into shots, but you're using the pace out wide, because the thing they really changed was get rid of players like Füllkrug and put in people who are faster that can run in behind. Callum Wilson is faster. Mm-hmm. You put him in, you can run in behind, you can threaten on the counter-attack, so it makes you so much more dangerous. They were conceding more shots per game. Don't know if that would change over time with the 5 that Potter had. I forgot he was the manager for.
I know.
Right? So you drop deep, you're a mid block, the team can come out, then you can try and win it. When you don't manage to win it, you drop even further back into your low block, and then you can try and hit them on the wings. So they play mostly on the wings, is what they do. So you've got all your pace there. That's how you do it. That's what they do. But what Nuno said, what I was reading earlier is that at Nottingham Forest, towards the end of the game, when they didn't win the final 8 or something. It was 2 out of 8 they won towards the run-in. Yeah. So Nuno thought that they'd been found out. Other teams had worked out how to stop them, so they're trying to change it. And that's what they're trying to do at Nottingham Forest in the summer, was trying to have new options and new things to do, which makes absolute sense why he brought in Paco Gemes to come and help him with something different, because he's more attacking and chaotic. So then you have a different version of what Nuno's
you have a
doing.
Diversity of options.
Well, exactly. But you want that from your assistant coach. You want somebody who's not exactly the same as you, so you can take different ideas in, so you can then still choose what you want to do. Against Man United, exactly, you make them really compact, you down to the middle, you hit them on the counter, the perfect thing to do. I guess other teams need other options, but you can't always drop deeper and deeper because inevitably you'll concede shots like they did with Tesco.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, we mentioned earlier that West Ham may be the informed team in the bottom half of the table. They certainly are. I'm looking at the form table now as shared by Steve Hankey. They're currently 4th in the form table. Wow. The closest you can find to them, Leeds at 8th. They're doing pretty well as well. Forest in 12th, so not absolutely terrible. Any guesses from the table? Who is above West Ham? Who are the top 3 in the form table?
Man United.
Man United are, I guess, joint number 1, or no, I guess second on goal difference.
Chelsea
are number 1. That's right. Yeah, 4 wins and a draw, same as United, but scored more goals. Brentford are not there.
Arsenal.
Brentford 11th. Arsenal are not there. That's
Aston Villa.
6th. Aston Villa are not there.
Bournemouth
are there. That's it.
Oh, they've become good again, have they?
Bournemouth have, in the last 5, they've won 3, drawn 2. You know.
Must be nice.
How about that?
Where are we?
Somewhere John McKenzie's ears are twitching. Crystal Palace, 15th.
Oh, okay.
Not so good.
No.
You got to win, which
if
I
you
think has helped
expand
you.
that to the last 10 games rather than the last 5, I think we go bottom. So
right.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that? I can do that if you want. Let me just... just bear with me 1 second there, Reuben. Let me just do that. 17 to 27 match days. And, you're the bottom. Yeah, 6 points from those 10 games.
Yeah.
6 points.
One of which, like you said, was from a position of being 2-0 up and conceding 3 goals to Burnley in 7 minutes.
Yeah. You got fewer points than Wolves over the last 10 games.
It's bad, yeah.
That's really bad. Mm-hmm. Spurs down there as well with 7. Spurs and Wolves have picked up the same amount of points. Yeah, that's just awful, isn't it? When you expand... So who said Brentford before? Was it you?
Who knows?
When you expand it to 10, Brentford are second in the form table.
They've picked up.
If the table started on match day 17 and finished on match day 27, if it did that, Brentford would finish second. They've collected.
That's the kind of statistic I like.
Me too, man. Absolutely, me too.
If Brentford all the players were cyborgs with laser beam eyes, they'd be even further ahead.
That's true. Well,
they would. Because they would eviscerate their enemies.
I know, but would they not be disqualified for that?
No, because you wouldn't know. You can't tell. They have the masks on that they have, you know?
Technically, there is nothing in the IFAB laws about doing that.
Exactly.
Nothing in the laser IFAB laws.
Correct. You wouldn't know, would you?
You wouldn't know.
As a master assassin, JJ, is this the sort of thing that you would know very well?
I'm not actually JJ. I'm someone else wearing a JJ mask.
Good Lord.
I can see the seams, I think, behind me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, free firing at Forest, right, Steve? I think you wrote it in that voice, did you?
I did. I do scream the script as I write it.
That's it, yeah. So here we go. That's what we think of West Ham's chances. Well, actually, I think we haven't done that bit yet, because let's talk about Forest, and then at the end, I want to go round, and I want to find out who thinks who is going to stay out, and whether anyone agrees with me that it's going to be Leeds that get relegated.
So that you get a free lunch.
Just for fun. Okay, right. Who could replace West Ham, though, in the bottom 3? We've talked about it. Nuno's old team there, Nottingham Forest, who currently sits 17th. They appear to be the most likely team to be leapfrogged by the Irons in the Premier League's survival race. As things currently stand, the Tricky Trees, writes Steve, are on to their 4th manager of the season, which I checked on the way in. That's a record. Did you know that?
Yeah, yes. I did know that.
Let me just... Do you guys want to guess who the other...
Fulham in the 13-14 season had 3 managers.
With Felix Magath. I remember that.
René Moulenstein and... Forgotten who the other one was.
Chris Coleman, or is that too early?
That's way too early.
Okay. No, it was... Not
Roy the Boy.
Martin Jol.
Of course.
Martin Jol, yeah. So there are, I think, 8... teams that have had 3 managers in one season. No one's ever had 4 apart from Forest.
That Fulham team came rock bottom last.
Yeah,
unsurprisingly.
Oh no, they finished 19th.
Oh, did they? Okay, well they went.
I mean, that's close enough.
And they scored that one of the best Premier League goals of all time in that season against Palace. That Kasami chest and volley.
Oh yeah. Well, of these 8 teams to have 3 managers in one season, 6 of them were relegated. So it doesn't seem like it's. Not saying it would. It does definitely work, but
who stayed up?
Well, the two teams that stayed up, Swansea in 2016-17, they had Francesco Guidolin, Bob Bradley, of course, and then Paul Clement.
Yeah.
And they
stayed up.
They finished 15th, yeah.
I forgot about Paul Clement.
And then Portsmouth in 2008-9, they had Harry Redknapp, replaced by Tony Adams, replaced by Paul Hart. And they finished 14th. Yeah. Any guesses for other teams that had 3 managers in one season?
Have Palace ever had it?
No.
This is permanent appointments rather than interims, all that
I
sort
believe
of stuff.
so. I believe so.
Newcastle maybe had it with Joe Kinnear and
I think he was an interim, wasn't he? One of them
Kinnear
was an interim in that. Well, they're not in the list, so I assume one was interim.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I think there'd be like shitloads, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
I imagine maybe Southampton.
0405.
05.
So not in 0405, but
Watford.
22-23 Southampton are here. Ralph Hasenhüttl was replaced by Nathan Jones, who was replaced by Ruben Selles. Remember that?
Yeah.
Watford are in here too in 21-22. Cisco Munoz was replaced by Claudio Ranieri, who was replaced by Roy Hodgson. Yeah. And then beyond that, Sunderland in 2002-03, they had Peter Reid, Howard Wilkinson, and Mick McCarthy. They were relegated in 20th place, good Lord. Charlton Athletic in 2006-07 had Ian Dowie, Les Reed, Alan Pardew. It's a nice Crystal Palace legend there, of course. We've done Portsmouth, we've done Fulham, we've done Swansea, Watford. Oh, Leeds. Leeds is another team in the 22-23 season. So it happened twice that season.
Oh, yeah. This was post-Bielsa, right? So they had Marsh.
Jesse Marsh, Javi Gracia, and then Sam Allardyce. And they were relegated. He was there for the last 4 games?
I think that was Allardyce's last club job, wasn't it?
That was billed like a pay-per-view boxing match, that one, wasn't it? It was like, can Big Sam save them? He's got 4 games to do so. It's the big night.
It's like, no, he can't.
Yeah, he can't save them. He didn't. Yeah. And I don't
Patrick
think...
Bamford up top.
Has he worked since then?
Don't think so.
No.
Don't
Him,
think so either.
Pardew and Pulis
are in that advert.
Yeah, they're in that advert because the firefighting jobs don't... The firefighter manager... Even for clubs like Forest, and it's Dyche and Nuno now.
Yeah,
those managers are no longer en vogue.
No.
Yeah, 2023 was Sam Allardyce's last managerial appointment.
How about that?
Leeds.
Well, you never know. Maybe by tomorrow, someone else will have been fired, and it could have been someone else. And
bring him back.
Yeah, it seems as though Forest are about to hire Vitor Pereira, doesn't it? They have? They already have? Fantastic. Good news for them. Anyway, right, Steve, the tricky trees. Oh, yes, it's written here. Are on to their 4th manager of the season with the recent appointment of Vitor Pereira to replace manager number 3 of the season, Sean Dyche. So, what went wrong for Sean Dyche? What do you think, Reuben?
Well, I was reading about it on The Athletic this morning, and it seemed like there was a real lack of unity that had been present under Nuno.
There was some disunity.
Some complaints about training being running, with Dyche wanting to get the team up to his physical level.
Oh, I liked that bit. That bit also said that Dyche was still doing that when he was fired. To suggest that they still weren't at Dyche's level of fitness when he lost his job. That's pretty damning.
But also seemingly a lack of enthusiasm for his game plan.
Right.
Which I can understand because like JJ alluded to earlier, Forest were trying to evolve towards the end of last season. And then in the summer, they spent a lot of money.
They spent 200 million, I think, in the summer.
And then I'm pretty sure at least one of these players, maybe both, in McAtee and Hutchinson, weren't included in their Europa League squad. And they both cost like 30, 35 million.
Yeah.
So that does suggest a kind of slightly scattergun approach. So then when Nuno left and they hired Ange Postecoglou, who didn't win a single game in charge, I can see the logic behind the appointment, even if it went terribly wrong. And then going all the way back to kind of the tactical dial swings all the way back to, Dyche, who was essentially very similar to Nuno. But I think there's just a lot of misalignment in how they want to play with the players they have.
Yeah.
Like, I think players like Gibbs White and Murillo can definitely play in a much more possession-dominant attacking team. But players like Milenkovic and Yates and they probably can't.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's happened. And there was like just an erosion of trust in Dyche. The fans never really warmed to him.
Sure.
Some bad results against fellow strugglers. And 0-0 against Wolves. He was booed.
Bit of a toxic fan situation.
Yeah, Mr. Marinakis is pretty ruthless.
Well, my favourite thing, that piece I think you're referencing was Paul Taylor's Inside Read. My favourite part of that on The Athletic was there's a part where he says that Marinakis, who's the owner of Nottingham Forest, invited a group of senior players into his private room, a week or two ago, and listened to what they had to say. Apparently, the mood was described as calm while he was listening. And then afterwards, he gave them what sounds like it was an attempt at a rousing speech to try to rediscover some of that unity that they had previously in the season. And I read that and I thought, like, can you imagine if you were the manager of Nottingham Forest and your boss just like took a bunch of your senior players into a room and tried to give them a speech? Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't you feel like constantly... as though someone was sort of reaching around you, reaching over you, or like as though you didn't. What do you think of those reach around? Wouldn't you think that it would make it impossible for you to do your job, or at least to the players, it would make you appear as though you were already a lame duck manager.
But isn't that sort of what an annual review is, where you review your manager? I
guess so, but
because when it goes to someone above them,
that is true. But so I think there's nothing wrong with players going to speak to Marinakis. I think that's fine. I think if a player wants to go and make a comment to Marinakis, then absolutely should do that. I think when Marinakis starts inviting players into the room, I think that's when the system breaks down.
That's the same thing though, isn't it? Because then if the manager above your manager asks you for feedback on the manager.
No, but the system asks you for feedback. The manager doesn't.
The machine.
Yeah. The manager doesn't.
But the Marinakis is the machine.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right? It's the structure breaks down.
Who's applying it to normal life?
Yeah. I think you're doing a bad job of applying it to normal life, though.
Am I though?
Yeah, I think so. The system asks you for your feedback. Like the individual people don't. You get my point, right? Like if in the case, like let's say for example,
but that's the same. No, because then the system is looking for it to make sure that it works for the people within the system. Like they're making sure that the person they have below them, is accurately or like well managed.
Yeah, but do you think that's obviously not what's happening in the case of Marinakis, is it?
Well, he's trying to get feedback on what's going on. Like, why is it not working? Do you not agree with the manager, what he's doing? I mean,
he should ask the manager.
Yeah, but what's the manager going to do? He's going to say, well, they're not listening to what I'm doing. They're not doing these things.
Well, Evangelos, we've had a real difficult run of fixtures at the moment. That's what he's going to say.
John Mackenzie's walked into the room.
You know, my favourite part of this read was players were not allowed to wear anything in training that they would not be permitted to wear during matches. Hats were among the banned items. Yeah. No woolly hats in training.
There's a couple of things at play here, though, because the players are meant to be not really happy with the tactics that they're asked to do. And I think it's because, like, if you look at Dyche's lineups of late, like, one of the things they have that Dominguez playing, like, left midfield. He's a central, like, ball winner, really, is what he does. But he's trying to make them really hard to play against on the wings, and they don't really have great attacking players, I would say, and so they can't really score goals. So it makes them really hard to play against and stodgy. But you look at the Everton team, the Burnley team, a lot of it was relied on set pieces and being very, very stodgy and sturdy, and you good characters in there. I'm not sure if they have exactly what they need.
Whereas Nuno last season on the wing, to your point, instead of playing a central midfielder shoved out there for safety, played two of the best direct wingers.
Yeah, but then there's a difference though, because if you play wingers on the counter-attack in the way that Espirito Santo was doing it, then you're creating space for sitting back to then deliberately hit that, so that you're not even 1v1 on the wings, you just... you have space to run into. But if you're playing it so you are a bit more patient and then you're trying to get 1v1 in a more controlled manner, they're going to have less fun with it.
I think on Forest, though, it's easy to get kind of swept up in what you see on the pitch and the sort of formations and maybe the coaching changes, because at the start of the season, whenever Nuno went on that surprise rant, and it took the club by surprise, they weren't expecting his rant about the transfers that were coming in, not fitting his profile and so on and so forth. That whenever Nottingham Forest brought in Edu as essentially the sporting director,
the global head of football in the group, I think is his name.
Yeah, he was overseeing the other club as well, wasn't he?
Olympiacos.
Yeah, and they've obviously got a multi-club ownership model of their own going on now. But Nottingham Forest essentially had it that was like, well, who is the guy that's in charge? Is it sort of the coach? Is Nuno making the decisions anymore? Had Edu overridden him? And also, we know that Nuno's very tied up with Jorge Mendes, the agent, whereas Edu very much isn't and is tied more so to other players. So then you've got this sort of weird external conflict going on. And as soon as he had that rant at the start of the season, you knew he was going to go sooner rather than later. Yeah. Not just did you know that he was going to go, but you knew that there wasn't a succession plan for who was going to come in. And you also knew that not only was there not a succession plan, but the guy that was going to come in was probably going to be coming in based off either Edu or the ownership himself. Now,
the first of three managers to talk themselves into the sack this season.
Yeah, very, very much setting a trend for just blowing everything up around you before you.
Who was the manager?
What do you mean?
Who replaced
Postecoglou?
Postecoglou, of course. He was there for a very short time.
Nick Miller wrote about this, kind of saying Marinakis has overseen, broadly success at Nottingham Forest in the 10 years that he's been there. He's taken them out of the Championship after a very, very long time lingering there. But this current mess is on him. And I think that appointment of Edu was obviously the first kind of domino in all of this falling apart.
We've got Nick Miller joining us next week.
Well, he can clarify what I've just
next Monday's episode. I think that's good because I thought that as well. And I would like to have that conversation because sometimes I think it's very easy for us all to, when clubs go through managers very quickly to point and say, "Oh, that's shit. That doesn't work." But Chelsea are a huge example of a team where it kind of has worked, depending on what your expectations of them are. So I thought next week we could have that conversation with Nick Miller to determine once and for all how important has Marinakis been. Okay, well there we go. Before we finish and go to play the Rondo and have a break, let us decide who's going down with Burnley and Wolves. Is it West Ham? Is it Forest? Is it another team, JJ, that we haven't considered?
Spurs.
It's Spurs. Okay, well, we're going to talk about Igor Tudor and Spurs in the second half, so we'll come to ask you why. Colin, what do you think?
I have to go Forest.
Do you think Forest?
Yeah.
Ruben?
Forest.
That lunch. See, the lunch. All three of them think I'm going to get a lunch, Steve. I'm getting a lunch, Steve.
Delicious.
Okay. Well, let's play the Rondo, but first, should we have a little break? I tell you what, I'll tell people what the Rondo is, and then we'll go on a break. Okay. It took me a moment to prepare this before. It's FA Cup related. Because the FA Cup happened over the weekend, of course we know. Because
everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, no one had a good time.
Nobody cares about the FA Cup anymore.
So everyone is there. Why do I feel disaffected and sad and lonely? Oh yeah,
its relevance really peaked last season, I think.
Yeah, the magic is that I feel sad. That's the magic. That's not magic. That's just every day. Now, there's 14 distinct teams here in this category. Okay, what I'm looking for is the last 14 unique winners of the FA Cup. And I'll tell you, you have to go back quite far to get 14 because there are a lot of repeat winners. So I'm not interested in individual instances. I'm only interested in teams. If they've won it once or won it 5 times, they only count as one answer. Okay? And remember now, the rules of the Rondo are that as soon as you say a team that is an incorrect answer, or if you cannot give me an answer at a subjective amount of time that I will give you, you are out of the game. The winner is the last person standing.
I should be okay with this one. I should be more than one round.
All right.
Jamal Lascelles.
Rondo. Have a little break, adverts, and then come back for the Rondo. And let's see if Steve puts a YouTube ad in here.
Hey, I can do it now.
You can do it now. He can do it now. Oh, one thing I should promote, actually, Steve, while we're here. We had a third episode of the podcast last week, which was audio only. It was audio only. Do you know what that is? Audio only?
I believe that's what a podcast was.
That's it. It's like we're going back in time. I'm selling it as we're zigging while everyone zags, just because it's funny. Anyway, that one is I read through. What did I read?
Spurs,
oh,
Frank.
thanks. I read through the inside read on Thomas Frank's sacking, and John McKenzie rang a little bell whenever he wanted to do some analysis.
You put it in post-production.
I rang it for him. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was really fun, but I want to tell people who are watching us on YouTube that I think there will be probably one of those episodes every week now, but they won't be on YouTube for a number of reasons. One is that they just sound very good in audio and I get to put in lots of nice relaxing music. So I will release one of those later in the week. Undecided yet as to whether it will be Fridays or Saturdays. I'll keep reminding people who only watch on YouTube, you won't get them here. So please subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple. And if you like that as a new format, please leave a little comment saying so. That would be nice. And it helps us be discovered by more people as well. Okay. Are you ready for Rondo?
Let's play.
Let's do it. As a reminder, it's unique FA Cup winning teams. JJ, let's begin with you.
Chelsea.
Chelsea are one of them.
Wigan Athletic.
Wigan? You got it. Yeah, 2013.
Crystal Palace.
Palace, of course, won it most recently in 2025.
Man City.
Manchester City have won it a number of times, but 2023 was most recently.
Leicester City.
Leicester City won it in 2021. I'd forgotten about that one, but they did. Well done, Colin.
Yuri Tielemans screamer. Manchester United.
Manchester United won it in 2024. There's quite a number of those instances on this list as well, but that's your one.
2 years in a row with the same
Arsenal.
final.
Arsenal won it most recently in 2020. But yes, there's huge numbers of Arsenal on this list. Colin? Liverpool won it in 2022. I feel, though, now as though we are through all of those big teams.
Yep.
That was pretty quick. What's remaining?
Portsmouth.
They are the most recent now
2008?
unique team. It was 2008. They beat Cardiff City 1-0. What a big final that was. Now, to find our next unique winner, we must reach back even further in time, JJ.
How far back do we go?
I'm not telling you because that'll give it away.
But what is I've forgotten what the game is again, so it's how many...
Unique FA Cup winners.
Ever?
Well, no, the most recent 14.
Oh. I don't think there's any more teams left.
There's 5 teams left.
Oh, is there? Okay, that's good.
There is.
Well, as we all know, that would be Everton.
Everton are the most recent unique winner. They beat Man United 1-0 in 1995. Colin?
Coventry City.
Coventry City won it in 1987. You're absolutely right. They were the 13th most recent team. Reuben? Spurs won it in 1991. Okay, there's only 2 teams left, JJ.
Leeds.
Nope, you're out. JJ, you did much better.
I think I know what the other one.
You made it all the way towards the end. Okay, there's only 2 teams left, and there's 2 players left. You could both win. Or you could both lose, or one of you could win, or the other could win. Or we could sit here for a long time. Colin, what do you think?
Wimbledon.
Oh. I think Wimbledon is the easier of the 2 to get. The Crazy Gang, of course, 1988, they beat Liverpool 1-0. And now, Reuben, we are looking for the 14th most recent FA Cup unique team winner.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at the EFL Championship table and pluck one at random.
Well, I wouldn't do that because they're a Premier League team.
Okay, then I'll look at the Premier League table and pluck one at random.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to take a punt on Aston Villa.
They've lost their way, but they found it in 1980. It was West Ham United who beat Arsenal 1-0.
Trevor Brooking.
Huh?
Trevor Brooking scored the goal.
Trevor Brooking. There you go. Steve remembers it personally.
Even though I was not born.
Okay, well, there you go. Congratulations,
I got the
Colin.
right kit.
You made it all. Do you know what? This was a very good round. You all made it to the final sort of bit. You know, it didn't skip you again, did it? It didn't skip you again.
Nope.
No. Well done.
You didn't get Lascelled.
No, that's right. In fact, you got the same number of correct answers as Reuben did. It was just Colin. Who pulled it out.
Well done.
Well done, sir. That's a sort of cucumber sandwich type clap, isn't it? A very muted, quiet clap. Okay, where do we go now? Well, I tell you where we go. We go to Igor Tudor. Who? You say? Who's that? I didn't know either. I said, who?
I'm also curious as to how we're meant to... Obviously, it's an easy name to pronounce, but my temptation is to say it as if he is one of the Tudor monarchs.
Right.
Tudor. Right, but...
Is it Tudor?
Given that he's from Croatia, it's probably pronounced differently. So is it Tudor?
Let's find out.
Like Tudor Cinema Club, that's what it sounds like I'm talking about. Or is it Tudor? It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Let's find a Croatian who says it for us. Okay? That's what we want. Oh, I can't find one. But I can find a Google AI that says it for us. Let's see how they say it.
Igor Tudor.
No, I mean, that's not true, is it?
Igor Tudor.
If you want, you can have the American pronunciation.
Igor Tudor.
Igor Tudor. I've got to learn, and I wish that I wasn't being as rushed so much, but I have an Igor Tudor. Yeah? You like that? That was bad.
That's right.
Cucumber sandwich clap for you there.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So what are we going to call him?
I'm going to call him Igor Tudor.
Igor Tudor.
Igor Tudor.
He spent a lot of time in Italy.
Yeah? Is this bit staying in, Steve?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Something got cut. It's where I did an Italian accent. I'll just be straight up with you. And we agreed as a group that maybe that wasn't appropriate. So we cut that out.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Maybe, I don't know. It's not there's anything wrong with it.
Oh, I see.
We just said it wasn't maybe appropriate for the setting. That's like saying...
Because he's Croatian.
No. That's like saying, so I've just booked a holiday. I'm going to Vienna soon, and I'm going to that
That's where they make the ice cream.
It's where they make the ice cream. It's also where they make the classical music. And I'm going to the I can't remember what it's called, the big famous music venue there. I checked the dress code because you know me. I'm not the sort of most well-dressed
You want to
person.
wear joggers all the time.
It says you got to wear trousers. You can't wear sweatpants or joggers.
For the Opera House, or
it's
£2 you go into.
It's the Musikverein. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a famous.
Definitely not that.
Anyway,
It sounds cool.
A, I've got to buy some trousers. B, showing up in joggers would be inappropriate for the setting. But it's not wrong to wear joggers. And thus the distinction between the two. You know?
Okay.
So anyway, that's why that bit was cut. Because we are at a classical music house and I should have worn real trousers. But Igor Tudor...
Or trousers.
As opposed to the imaginary trousers that you normally wear to music.
As opposed to arriving nude. Right, Steve. Tottenham Hotspur have appointed Igor Tudor as interim head coach until the end of the season. Now, the former Juventus, Lazio, Marseille and Galatasaray head coach takes on his first job in English football until the end of the season. According to James Horncastle of The Athletic, Tudor has generally favoured a three-back 4-2-3, the 3-4-2-1 formation for his teams. How do we think that this could suit the Spurs squad? That's one of the questions we have to ask here. But also, why have they picked him? This one kind of caught me by surprise. Although apparently he has a history of doing rather well in exactly these sorts of situations.
That'll be why then.
I guess that'll be why.
There's a link between him and Juventus, isn't there? Which is
he used to manage Juve. Though obviously Fabio Paratici was part of that.
It's Paratici, yeah.
He was Andrea Pirlo's assistant as well, because Pirlo had not coached when he became the manager. So they wanted somebody who had coached properly. And in James Horncastle's piece, he kind of suggests that maybe a lot of the on-pitch stuff there was down to him, because Pirlo has failed since, and Igor Tudor has done quite well since. But yeah, he seems to be, like we were saying earlier, firefighters are going out of fashion. He's kind of the firefighter for the big clubs.
Yeah.
And
wait till there's a fire.
Well, yeah.
I think there's one now. I think Spurs is on the fire.
Yeah, Spurs is a dumpster fire. And yeah, he comes in and he's not scared of any big challenges. He's not afraid to look into the abyss, I believe James wrote.
Oh.
He plays supposedly high intensity football, but how intense that can be mid-season with only, 12 fit players they've got.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how much he can change, how quickly. But they
have got Conor Gallagher though. I feel like he could do all the intensity.
Well, he masked a lot of flaws in a Palace team under Vieira, who later turned out to be not as good a manager as we thought. So
fraudera, as people call it.
I like it when you summarise him thusly. He has no experience of the Premier League as a head coach or a player, has not lasted more than a year in any of his 3 jobs. He's been described as too loud and emotional by former colleagues.
Is this James Horncastle?
No, this is from other articles that I've read at other places. He's prone to tantrums. One source said, look at the amount of games at each club, that tells you everything. He's purely a transitional coach. His Marseille team was like watching basketball. Spurs have rolled the dice.
Where was that one from?
I think that was the Telegraph, that one.
Right. Okay. So you doesn't sound like you're certain then.
Well, I've not watched any of his teams, so I couldn't tell you. But from what I read and the way they want to play, it's probably going to be fine. It's probably like get them fired up. And if you're looking for a manager, you want the one who's worked at Juventus. We'll get him.
Yeah.
Who's available? Big Sam.
It feels like a good appointment to me, because the normally when a team is in this sort of situation, they hire a defensive coach to stop them conceding goals and shore everything up. But Spurs are in a weirdly unique position where they are like a big club floundering, having played bad, boring defensive football. So they've brought a guy in who's very used to short-term jobs, fix things and then leave in the summer. It's a short-term contract. So he's got no issue with that. He's used to that. That's kind of his speciality. But it's playing front foot, intense, broadly attacking football.
But is it going to be that? Like, I mean, they say this. I don't know if they can do that with what Spurs have. I don't think they will.
That's the challenge, right? That's at least in theory what he wants to do.
I mean, the bar's like relatively low for success here, isn't it? It seems unlikely at this stage of the season that Spurs are actually going to be relegated. They're 5 points ahead of West Ham. A win or two, I think, kind of...
I don't know, but
think so?
Where's the win coming from? Like they have decent players, but they don't have that like team spirit. They don't have the togetherness. They don't have any momentum.
Yeah.
It could change, but let's go a couple of different ways, right? So Tudor can get them all fired up, and they're ready to go, and they've...
Well, they'll be fired up next Sunday because it's NLD.
Right, exactly, right? So, yeah, you're going to play one of the best teams in the world. How are you going to beat that?
Yeah.
And the problems that Spurs have had, like everyone on the earth has been talking about how they can't do progression. Basically, they don't have players that can play the ball through the middle. They've got lots of injuries. That's a thing that's very relevant. But they're just not... They're not very creative or fantastic in the final third. Everyone else is also amazing at defending these days. So they're not really good at anything in particular. And they're lightweight. You feel that you can beat them. So until you get rid of that, remember like Man United last season when everyone felt there was a time where you thought, oh, they could actually get relegated here. Yeah. So that can happen to no matter the size of the club. Like Newcastle's a good example. Massive club, just felt like vulnerable. They ended up going down a long time ago.
I recall now you said Spurs instead of Forest will go down. Right. So do you actually believe this, or is this
not really? I think they
joke?
should. Well, I think they've got the better players than other teams, so Forest will probably be in amongst it. Leeds could still get brought into it because they're just in amongst there. West Ham have the momentum, but those teams are all in it, so they're the ones I'd be looking at. But with Spurs, if you play a back three, like how do you get the ball forward? So probably if you have one striker, maybe you put Kudus next to them if he's not injured. You can maybe try and get it forward.
Dominic Solanke's back as well.
Dominic Solanke's back as well. So you can try and play it like forward quickly and bypass midfield. Because if you're playing a three at the back, you're probably going to have two in midfield. So you get the problem where you can't really play through them.
And one of them is going to be Gallagher.
Yeah, but I like Gallagher's play, but then he tends to be better higher up.
That's what I mean.
And then, but they're centre back. So if you play three at the back, who are you going to play? You're going to play Van de Ven, Romero, both good players. And then you've got Danzo's never around injured. You got Dragusin. Is he good? I don't know if he is. Ben Davies is injured.
I don't think Spurs really like Dragusin that much.
No.
Palhinha's going to have to drop in, isn't he?
Right. So you've had this thing with Tudor tends to play a back three. He won't play that because he doesn't have the players for it. So you'll play a back four is what he'll do, I'd imagine. And so you'll have exactly the same problem. What difference does it make other than getting them galvanised and fired up? And if you can get them all hooked up, let's go. Let's show Arsenal what we're about. And it doesn't work. Do you know what happens? The pin drops on the balloon, it bursts, and then suddenly you've got, let's start again. Let's get them fired up. And then if you don't get the next result, all of a sudden, you're like, he's not very good. And they've got this guy screaming at them, training every day. He's like, why won't you win? And that's what he wants.
Well, let's see where the result can come from.
Yeah.
Because
I'm notoriously good at this.
Well, let's do it. Let's go through the games, and we'll get the number of points. Okay. So, how many games do they have left? They have 12 games left.
Yeah.
Right. Ready? We're going to calculate the points as we go.
Yeah.
Sunday, the 22nd of February, 4:30 p.m. It's a big Super Sunday of football. It's Tottenham versus Arsenal.
They're going to start well, and Arsenal win about 1 or 2-0.
Okay, so 0 points there. Then they are away to Fulham.
Oh, draw.
Okay, that's 1 point. Then they're at home to Crystal Palace.
Reuben, what do you think?
Spurs will win.
No, I draw.
Okay, that's 2 points. Then they're away to Liverpool.
Loss.
Okay, home to Forest. That's the big one.
Actually, you know what? They'll beat Liverpool.
You think they'll beat Liverpool?
It'll be a weird one. No, wait. Follow So they'll beat Liverpool 1-0, something like that.
Okay, so now they're on 5 points.
Yeah.
Then they've got a really big relegation clash against Nottingham Forest.
Draw.
They're at home. Draw?
Yeah, draw, yeah.
Okay, so that's 6 points. Then they are away to Sunderland.
Lose.
Okay, home to Brighton.
Lose. 1-0.
Yeah, wow, okay. So still on 6 points. Did we say 6? Yeah, we did. Away to Wolves, who presumably will probably be relegated by this point.
Yeah, so a win, there's more to play for them.
Okay, 9 points. Away to Villa.
They lose that.
Home to Leeds. Another big clash.
They'll both be at it. So that I'll just randomly say that's a draw because it could go either way.
10 points. Okay, away to Chelsea.
Lose.
Home to Everton on the final day of the season.
They'll have more to play for in Everton, so they could win that.
Okay, so that would be 13 points, which I think would be good enough to see them. Let me just go back in time.
They should stay up with that, shouldn't they? That would put them on.
They would stay up. I'm pretty certain they would stay up. They'd finish on 42 points. Yeah, I think they would definitely stay up. With 42.
So just about.
So you think they're going to stay up?
I think they'll be in amongst it. Like I said, I think Forest, Spurs, Leeds, West Ham are all in amongst it. Brighton could easily be dragged into that, as could Palace.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what happens now. Is that you lose a couple of games and suddenly you're either up against it or you're fine.
That Fulham game is massive, isn't it? Like the Arsenal one is not quite a write-off because Spurs expect to lose to Arsenal now. But what lost Thomas Frank a lot of fan support was the approach in that game, just kind of deep 5-4-1, not even trying to score. Like I think they did score because Richarlison scored from the halfway line after a weird mistake, but the XG was like pathetic. So the approach in the Arsenal game and then the result in the Fulham game will set the tone for the rest of their season.
I think that's fair.
Actually, I now think he's going to win every single game.
Okay. Do you want to go through them
He's
again?
like the new Conte.
Right.
And he's going to get them to finish in... They're going to finish 9th.
I think that now Arsenal are 4 points ahead again of Manchester City. I think Spurs are going to beat them. That's just how the narrative works for me and my head.
They would be very... Yeah.
I think they will.
I just don't think Tottenham have the players for a relegation battle. Like, they don't have the sort of profile who you kind of think, you've got that external pressure on to win games. I just don't see them turning up for these matches. I don't think it's an environment. Yeah, I mean, I think they could. I don't think they will, but they definitely could. They definitely could.
It doesn't feel like they're in one yet, and I wonder how it's so weird to talk about. How does that stadium react to that? Like, how does the Spurs, like, beautiful, amazing, super futuristic stadium react to being in a relegation fight when they expect to be in the Champions League places,
but also
while also still being in the Champions League itself.
This is the thing. You have it is a distraction. That is definitely a distraction, those games. And obviously Igor Tudor is coming in from Juventus, Lazio, Marseille, teams who are expected to sort of go out and win most of their league matches. Like, that's the position, and I think he's got a managerial profile where he's coached teams who are expected to win and who are expected to dominate the ball and who are expected to take the initiative, be the protagonists in the matches. Tottenham can't be that. Let's
see what Igor Tudor can do in his opening games. I mean, as we said, they don't play... when do they play? The 23rd? It's coming weekend? It's coming Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, that's how maths works in my head. Okay, great. Let's play Points Are Bad, where the 1-1 bot didn't make any mistakes because he got a perfect round. It's the first time anyone's ever had a perfect round.
I had a perfect round.
Did you have a perfect round once? You got 0 points on both results, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that? I don't remember that.
I think John may have got one once, but I'm not sure.
I think John got one. Yeah. I don't remember JJ getting one.
No.
Well, maybe it was John, and I was like so delighted.
You've remembered it just.
Well, I thought it was me because I was so happy for him. But I was like, well, maybe you should get points off. You should get points taken off.
I'm just teasing
because they're bad.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that. No, that's true. Well, listen, you did not do well this week.
No,
you added 5 points.
Maybe in your eyes.
Well, I think objectively, you added the most points.
I'll decide.
The game's called Points Are Bad.
Yes.
You added more than anyone else. John and Kaya added 3. That's still not great, but it's okay.
It's not many.
Reuben, you and me added 2. Yeah, that's 2 each, by the way.
We're pretty good this season, aren't we?
I'm not doing very well. I think you're doing quite well. Of course, the games were West Ham Man United, which was 1-1. Brentford Arsenal, which also was 1-1. I went 2-1 to West Ham. And I said 1-0 to Arsenal, adding both. Reuben, you said 2-0 to Arsenal, just adding 1 there. And you also said 1-0 to Man United, so just adding 1 there. JJ, you thought Man United were going to win 4-1. And also, you went 0-0 Brentford Arsenal, which I think was a very fair guess. And the game could have played out that way.
I would have had 1-1 if I could have done, but obviously I couldn't because of the robot.
The bot.
At risk of making my own score worse here, should I not have added 2 for the Brentford Arsenal game?
Yes, you should have. Yeah, and Steve's done the maths wrong. You're absolutely right. Thanks for your honourable... Steve, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Steve.
I don't want to win this game dirtily.
End the sentence.
Cut there.
I want to win. Well, points are bad, aren't they? So I want to win clean.
Yeah, okay. No, well, congratulations. Well, listen, you're still ahead, even with that additional sneaky extra point there. JJ, you are, of course, in last place on 120. I'm just ahead of you on 102. John's on 98 now. I'm closing the gap a little. Kaya on 97. And Reuben, even with that extra sneaky point, you're on 95. The 1-1 bot, still on 74. Congratulations. Okay, JJ, you are yourself this week. Can you please take a look for the fixtures that you would like us to predict for? Reuben, you'll be playing yourself, as will I. John is nearby, but I think we should we get Colin to play as John? Yeah. And then you can play as Kaya.
Okay.
But now John doesn't play at all because he's hardly ever on this Monday.
He's got his knees,
It's hard to watch, isn't it?
It ruins the point of it. He's not in it.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
How you take him out of the game so that you can win it? Is that how you do it?
Well, I mean, I think if you interpret it that way, that's one option. Like, he is closer to me in score now.
Because I was doing really well when I was playing 0-0 every week, and then
you weren't. You've been last the entire season.
Oh no, I was doing really well, and then someone came in and made it like 7-0 or something like that.
Oh my god! Your version of events is insane. Your 0-0s were adding like 4 points every game.
I'm pretty sure if you went back, you would see.
I didn't ban you from doing 0-0s because they were doing so well. I banned you because it was the most predictable thing of all time.
Was it? Was that why?
It very much was. It very much was. You've been last the entire season. You got barkered, but everyone here has been barkered, my friend.
I was not the worst when they got barkered.
Everyone's been barkered.
Have they?
Well,
how many points?
I barkered
Who
myself.
remembers how many points it was?
We've got Steve's got all the plans.
All right.
Steve
The first
will get
game
through.
is Spurs versus Arsenal, obviously,
Oh my
on
God,
Sunday.
That's such a big game.
Yeah.
And what's the next game?
Who else are we talking about today? I don't know.
Who have West Ham got?
I know Bournemouth. I think that's the robot.
Two of the informed teams in the league, though.
The robot will win that, though. And what one the robot doesn't win?
City, Newcastle.
Yeah.
Who do Man United
Nottingham
play?
Forest, Liverpool is interesting. Isn't it?
Forest, Liverpool. That is interesting. It's Forest at home, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Man United playing Everton on Monday. That's quite a good
that's
one.
the Monday night one.
But then we
won't know the result.
All right, so we're doing Liverpool versus Forest versus Liverpool and Spurs
in Nottingham,
versus
yeah.
All right,
correct.
So is the Forest Liverpool on Saturday?
Sunday.
Then Sunday.
Two Sunday
Let's
games.
start with that one then, because it'll be the first game, right? So Forest Liverpool. What do you think, JJ?
0-0.
Yeah. Okay. And then Spurs Arsenal. That's definitely not 0-0. Although it could actually be 0-0.
0-0.
Who's next?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm telling you. Next is. Oh, it's you, yes, it's you, John. Yes, Colin, you're John this week. Forest versus Arsenal. Forest versus Liverpool.
2-1 to Liverpool.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then Spurs versus Arsenal.
3-1 to Arsenal.
Wow, that's a big score.
That's a big score.
That's a big score. Okay,
no
fine.
manager bounce for either of those two.
Kaya, Steve, we have you next.
Yes, so to do Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool first, I think that Liverpool will win that, and I think they will win it 0-1.
0-1. Okay, fine. And then the big one, Spurs versus Arsenal. Now, it's okay for you to channel Kaya because you're both Arsenal fans. So
yes.
you can go for it. That's fine.
I think
5-0?
2-1. 2-1. No, 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah.
Didn't we just say that?
I said that.
Colin just said that.
Bugger. Okay.
3-0. How about a 3-0?
I feel
4-0?
like they'll get a jammy one. No, 2-0. 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah.
No new manager bounce there.
That seems fair. No new manager bounce there. Okay. Who's next? It's me next, I think. Yeah, it's me next. Right. So Forest, Liverpool. I think Liverpool will win this game. I think Liverpool will win this game. Is 2-1 taken?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taken by Colin.
In which case I'll take 2-0.
That is free.
Great. Fantastic. And then Spurs Arsenal. I would take 1-1 for this if it were available. It's obviously not. In which case I'm going to take 2-1 Spurs.
A new manager bounce.
It just feels like the right thing. It just feels like the kind of thing that happens.
God.
It does. Man United just did it to Arsenal, and they were shit
Arsenal
6 weeks ago.
Just dropped points against Brentford as well.
Yeah.
I think it's happening. I think it's going to get scary.
Is this the start?
Of Spurs coming to win the Premier League?
Yeah.
Coming back from, that's it.
Next season.
Okay, Reuben, you're next. So let's start with Forest Liverpool.
Forest, Liverpool. Forest 2, Liverpool 2.
Wow.
I've not got many options
I could see
left,
that.
you know.
No, I can see that. Okay, and then Spurs Arsenal.
What's left available here?
So 2-1 to Tottenham is gone, 3-1 to Arsenal is gone, 0-0 is gone, and 2-0 to Arsenal is gone.
1-0's there.
2-1's
1-0 is there, both ways.
2-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, that's available.
Is that
Right?
available?
It is.
Yeah, I'll have that then.
I should have taken that.
What did you pick back? Oh, you
2-1
picked
to
Spurs.
2-1 Spurs.
All right, there we go. So that's point to bad. That's everything, JJ. Thank you.
Yes.
Colin, thank you. Reuben, thank you.
Thank you.
And Steve was here also.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And we'll be back on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, we're back on Thursday this week, where we have
John. And other people. Kaya.
And Kaya.
And Thomas.
Oh, and Thomas.
Yes, Thomas.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thomas Hill. That'll be fun. All right, see you there. Au revoir. Arrivederci.